Will the RBA raise rates next month? Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to look at a opinion piece by Stephen Koukoulas discussing if rates will increase next month. Spoiler alert, he doesn't think they will. So if we pressing the right buttons here, the RBA is likely to keep interest rates on hold again in May. And for those of you playing at home and who haven't been watching, the rate is at 3.6%, the cash rate target from the Reserve Bank, and that of course influences the interest rates that all the banks charge us. And you can see here, they've paused. For once, I went through a whole period of not even having to update this chart because I didn't do anything, and now I've got to update it every month. I mean, the life of a YouTuber, guys, it's bloody, copying and pasting a reference link, it's hard work. It really is, It's not really. This is a hobby I can do after I finish work, or if I, in the middle of the day, I want to get a distraction away from thinking and just do some YouTubing. So let's jump over here and look at, before we go through this article, this is the RBA rate indicator. And at the 26th of April, last time this was updated, the prediction is no change at the next meeting. An increase to 3.85%, 0%. Okay, so let's jump and have a look at this article now. So the RBA is likely to keep interest rates on hold again in May. As inflation continues to fall, the RBA has time to pause. Okay, is it falling or are we getting used to it? It's still painful every time I go out shopping now. According to the monthly data, Australia's annual inflation rate fell to 6.3% in March of 2023, a clear step down from the 32-year high of 8.4% in the year to December 22. It was a good result that reflected the slowing in the pace of economic growth, the downturn in global growth, and the dip in commodity prices since the middle of 22. Inflation will continue to fall in the months ahead. In the March quarter of 23, the consumer price index rose 1.4%, the smallest rise since the December quarter 2021, for an annual rise of 7%, which is down from the peak of 7.8%. The trimmed mean measure of inflation, which excludes the price of many volatile items, rose 1.2% in the quarter for an annual rise of 6.6%. For the Reserve Bank and its meeting next week, where it will mull over the need for a further interest rate rise, the deceleration in inflation is more than it was expecting in its February statement on monetary policy. The downward revision to the inflation outlook from the RBA will be clear. By way of example, if the headline quarterly inflation rate in the June quarter is 0.8%, which is likely, annual inflation will fall to 6%, compared with the RBA's latest forecast of 6.7%. It will be a big miss. Or, to the RBA, do they ever forecast accurately? Honest question. I'll bring up this chart here I love showing all the time. The reality compared to predictions. Are they ever accurate? Is the methodology that they use just completely wrong? This isn't a science, isn't it? It's a mishmash of psychology. It's not engineering. It's economics. A bit of astrology in it. The TA, that's all bullshit. So what are we paying them for? Now we've got two boards, don't we? Awesome. Sure, it'll all be fine. If the trimmed mean inflation rate also hits 0.8% in the quarter, the annual rate will drop to 5.7%, materially lower than what the RBA forecast in February of 6.2%. Given these likely forecast misses, the RBA is set to keep official inflation rates on hold at its meeting on May 2, when it revises its forecasts in the quarterly statement on monetary policy on May 5th. The forecast path for inflation over the next 12 to 18 months will be between 0.5 and 1 percentage points lower than its forecast in February. This means inflation will return to target about a year earlier than the RBA was previously forecasting, meaning the middle of 2024 rather than the middle of 2025, for a sub 3% annual inflation rate. Now, if you're sitting there going, but Florian, the inflation, it's bullshit, it's excluding this and this and this, and I don't trust it and I don't believe it, it doesn't matter, guys. It does not matter what reality is. It matters what numbers they look at and what data they look at to make their decisions. Okay, so you can be there going, but Florian, this has gone up so much, this has gone up so much. They're not counting houses properly, they're not counting this, they're not counting land, it's all bullshit. Yeah, but that doesn't matter, does it? It's not about reality, it's about what they're going to respond to. And if what they're responding to is hitting their target band closer than expected, well, there you go. It's like the clearance rates from real estate, from the auctions, where there's a big band from where it is, and it's always going to be have a bias towards more sales because all the real estate agents that fail won't report it, and it'll just be unreported. So it's not about the actual number, it's about the direction of movement of it. Same thing here. The downward revision to the inflation forecast will be assisted by the relatively weak wages data, which dispels the RBA's fears that the tight labour market will spark cost pressures. Inflation, in other words, for business. Well, we already have inflation for business. And all of the costs that we're doing running businesses. You know what we're going to see? It'll be energy inflation in the next 10 years. It's going to be awesome. Awesome, guys. Everything's going to cost more. And I wonder how high the RBA, or how much of impact our drive for renewable energy and the increased costs associated with that will drive up in interest rates because of the RBA. What do you reckon, guys? What do you think? It's wonderful how this planned economy works. So here you go, the rate target at 3.6%, and you can see there how we only know good times. Most of us only know good times. The problem is going to be the people that bought in here their houses at the FOMO area, and they maxed out their buying capacity at this point at a 0.1% rate. Now, it feels like that's like every other bloody person in the world because of just the way the media jumps onto the sob stories. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. You know what? I would make a bet. Not much of a bet, probably just a carton. No, not even a carton. Probably just a 5-litre Guinness. 2-litre Guinness. That the average understanding of financial issues for Australians have gotten better over the last 20 years. What do you reckon? Oh, maybe not. Well, okay. Our ability to get access to information is a lot better, than it was ever in the past. It's easier and cheaper and faster. But the problem is, it's also easier and cheaper and faster to get a whole lot of bullshit information. We're seeing all the scammers just peddling all this crap and these cons. Crypto, look at all the rubbish that it's used for. So it could go either way, couldn't it? But I guess you could learn some valuable lessons in crypto and then, learn what not to do. Just don't put all your bloody money in it. Piss away $1,000 with some stupid thing and learn a lesson is probably a lot better than someone who's burning through $250,000 of your friends and family's money. The updated inflation forecast will be the key issue with the RBA's revised economic outlook. It is also important to note that there is a clear slowing in the domestic and international economies, a point that will deliver a material deceleration in inflation in the quarters ahead and risks pushing the unemployment rate higher than currently expected. In simple terms, inflation is falling with the current interest rate settings. Further interest rate rises are not needed to get inflation back to target in a reasonable time frame. Get set for many months where rates are on hold. So Koukoulas has made the prediction, the call, that we're going to see months of rates on hold. So let's have a bit of a talk about this guy. What do you reckon? I mean, here's the thing. A significant portion of our economy and our cost of living is driven by imported goods and services. A chunk of that is to do with shipping costs as well. That's one aspect that's getting cheaper. Oil prices are getting cheaper. And, well, energy is going to get more expensive, but that's going to be a long-term issue. So we'll have to see what happens to our cost of living if prices will actually come down. They're measuring it that it is. What do you reckon? Do you think we'll have rates on hold for some time? What'll that do to house prices? Just if they hold. Or you know what? If they hold for a few months and then we get that first tick down, that'd make people go nuts, wouldn't it? I bet you it would. Remember, it's psychology. There'd be the fear of missing out again. Maybe they were waiting this last period and they missed out and they saw the purchasing power of their money erode even more because of all this inflation. Maybe housing hasn't moved that much, but that doesn't matter. It's just that, the money they used to use to fill up a tank of petrol now only fills up half a tank of petrol, so they're going to be freaking out. Could we have what would that be? An inflation, a post-inflation psychosis drive to, or mania to buy houses as fast as possible once we get a tick down in the cash rate. Come on, guys. That's an Australian thing that we do, don't you? I just have to laugh now. It's the only way to deal with it. Oh, hey, don't worry. We'll get the Greens rent caps. I'm sure that'll flood property on a... Oh, boy, yeah, we're going to have renter costs then as well. This is just... We got to learn. Looks like we have to learn the hard way. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Check out Heise BIM or Heise Does. And if you're a fan and enjoy the content I create, you can support us on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.